Okay,
Smooth sailing after
The,
last year.
I'm gonna call this regular board meeting to order. The time is 6 o'clock. And can we get a roll call, Jesse?
Here.
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 Present.
Here.
Here.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item C, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Moving on to item D, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 2, the consent agenda. Can I get approval of the consent agenda items?
I make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to item 3, letter A, the board reports, committee of the whole reports, and administrative reports, and all that information can be found online. And then moving on to item 4, the community comments, and there are no community comments for this evening. And then moving on to section 5, the discussion and action portion of the evening. And we will go with letter A, to consider personnel recommendations. Dr. Aslan.
We have one resignation before you this evening. Sarah Melton, the high school paraprofessional, 12 years of service.
Okay, and do we have a motion to approve that resignation?
So moved. Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's a pretty service to the
Yes, and all those opposed? There's none, so motion passes. And we would like to say thank you, Sarah, for her service for 12 years. All right, and then moving on to the hiring.
5 hires coming to you this evening. Chase Melton, high school assistant wrestling coach, recommended by Mr. Lucius. Tyler Yakes, middle school boys basketball, 7th and 8th grade, recommended by Mr. Lucius. Kylan Ferguson, high school assistant girls basketball coach, recommended by Mr. Lucius. Michelle O'Connell, middle school girls basketball, recommended by Mr. Lucius. And Gina Lindberg, middle school night custodian, recommended by Dr. Aslan.
All right, do I have a motion to approve those hirings?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Moving on to letter B, the consider acceptance of donations. Dr. Aslan.
From Philip and Marie Schutzpeltz to Student Services, $1,000 donation. From the Spooner Trigo Lions Club to Student Services, $2,000. From the NUE in memory of Mark Aderman, the high school musical, $100. And from Donors Choose, an anonymous local donor, General Motors and Young Sheldon on CBS, in honor of National STEM Day, the Spooner Middle School STEM, 4 Ozabot Evo robot kits, a total cost of $871.18.
Okay, and do we have a motion to approve those donations?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. We'd like to say thank you again for the great donations this community continues to give to us. It's greatly appreciated. Moving on to item C, consider fundraising request. Dr. S.
So you have a series of fundraiser requests before you this evening. From Spooner Boys Basketball, Coach Fiesel, on November 27th, looking to accept donations, solicit donations, no items being sold, but an anticipated profit of greater than $1,000. Funds used for jerseys, warm-up, and equipment. From Skills USA, that'd be Mr. Linton as the advisor. From mid-November to late December, selling wood Christmas tree decorations, where students would build decorations and they'd be sold in the community, anticipating a profit of greater than $1,000. And those funds would be used for Skills USA registration fees. And from Spooner Girls Basketball, Coach Rupert, fundraiser running in November, selling different flavors of coffee, goal of $1,000 for the profit and to be used for jerseys, basketballs, entry fees for tournaments, etc.
All right, do we have a motion to approve those?
I make a motion that we approve all 3 fundraisers.
Second.
Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item D, consider boys hockey conference invitation as presented at the COW. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item E, consider SHS Hockey Civic Center Facility Use Agreement as presented at the COW. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, did we lock this in for a period of time, or is this just for 1 year? I don't recall.
It's just for 1 year.
Yeah, okay.
It was as presented for 1 year. I think going forward, we will discuss with Mr. Lucius and the administrative of changing the contract. I think we discussed for 2 years. Mr. Lucius had mentioned that for next year.
I think we need to do that for
Yeah,
some
going forward.
financial planning.
Did they, I wasn't here for that meeting, did they, is there reasons for that amount of increase from 13,000 to 17,000?
There were a couple more games they mentioned this year, but other than that, it was expenses.
And it was also the hourly rate itself went up. They gave us a lower rate for the first year.
Yeah, Mr. Lucius had mentioned that. I believe that it was last year, the agreed upon amount was, they were giving us a concessions for what we said we could pay at that time.
May I ask an additional question? We had a conversation amongst ourselves regarding the admission concession gates. And did they agree, are they going to charge the same amount for students' admission as we charge at our local buildings, or will the amount be different?
I'm not able to speak to that. I don't know. What I think that is an item that if we're able to negotiate a 2-year deal at the conclusion of this hockey season, that would be a piece that the district would go forward with at that time.
Okay. It seems it's still up in the air. My concern is that a student might show up with their $3 in the pocket, which is maybe what it would cost to get into a basketball game in our building. But if they were to need $8 to get in there, I would have a problem with that. So may I enter an amendment to this and say, I would like to approve this with the amendment that they charge the same rate for students. If they want to go above with adults, that's a separate issue, but I'm really trying to protect our students here that want to go to a football game, then I feel it should be the same amount. So that's my amendment to it. There might not be a second, but at least I spoke.
I think in order to do that, don't we have to turn back the agreement in full and have them?
I believe, yes, it
Renegotiate
would
it?
have to be renegotiated, yes, so that would,
So maybe we need to table this and talk
I'll
about
vote.
it further.
I
Is it-
believe that this is a time-sensitive
is.
agreement, and so we would have to vote on this
Let's
tonight.
just, let's just say timeout. There was no second to my amendment, so let's back up. and
Okay,
vote.
perfect. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Paul. All right, so we have a motion and a second as presented. So any other further discussion? No? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we have to have the roll call. because
Sure, we can get a roll call vote, no
it
problem.
It involves money.
Yep, sure. Jesse, sorry.
Yes.
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 All right, motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item F. Consider school forest next steps. We had a discussion regarding that last week, and we would need, it'd be the recommendation that we have a board representative for the next steps as a liaison for that. Is anyone interested in that position?
Is there anybody on the board that knows anything about forestry?
No.
We,
I do, and as long as no one else would have a perceived conflict,
You're fine.
that would, okay.
I'm
Then
okay with it.
Yeah. I would definitely do it.
okay.
Probably the best.
Fine with me. She's the most qualified here to
Yep.
talk about it. so.
Okay, so we have, we need a motion for that then? Or is it just a
I think if you have consensus.
consensus? We have a
that-
consensus that Terry Aslan would be the, pardon me, would be the representative for the school forest next steps?
Yes.
All those in
Yes.
favor?
Yep.
Consensus, yes, okay, thank you, sorry. All right. Moving on to item G, consider draft 24-25 school calendar as presented. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item H, consider St. Croix Tribal Truancy as presented at the cow.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented.
And that was that was the consider St. Croix Tribal Truancy, I'll read it all, memorandum of understanding. And that was a motion to approve, you said, Paul?
Yes.
And a second, and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item I, consider first reading of volume 32, number 2, Neola Policy Updates, Group 1. That is the first reading of volume 32, number 2, Neola Policy Updates, Group 1.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have some things to say.
Okay.
First of all, again, I continue to oppose these pronoun changes that are being forced upon us here. I think it's not necessary. I think we updated our CISA 11 policies a couple of weeks ago at our meeting at CISA. All the CISA 11 policies indicate gender-specific pronouns, his, her, he, she. They haven't been changed. I see no reason why we need to change ours. I think, across the state, I've been doing a little investigating, and this is a pretty hot topic in a lot of districts. And there's a lot of opposition to these changes. So I, for one, would propose that there's 5 of them I'm concerned about. 0144, 1260, 1630, 3430, and 4430. I propose that we leave the language as is without the changes, and the other policies I propose we support. I guess that's in my amendment. Is that what it would be
If
to the
you
motion?
make an amendment, I'll second the amendment.
So just to recap for Jesse here, you are requesting that 0144, 1260, 1630, 3430, and
And 4430,
4430, they not be changed.
correct. Correct, accept the policy as is without the proposed changes that are indicated.
All changes?
Yeah, well, basically, yes, we'll leave the policy as is,
Because there are other changes in those.
just they're minor that I read. I mean, I'm trying to do this the easy way, but if you want to, we can pick it apart, I imagine, if we want to do that, but.
Well, I think there are some other changes.
Other
Just
than, yeah,
ignoring
it can't
all
be
the
all,
changes.
it can't be all
Okay, well,
changes.
then the wording I want to leave in place are the gender-specific pronouns, his, her, he, she, herself, himself. Those words need to remain in place. That's what I'm saying.
Can I ask why you would say that?
Because I think it's a small step in the wrong direction. I think the more we neutralize everything, the more confusing it is to kids. And I don't think we should be supporting that, that way to go on these issues. I think we've had these policies in place for years. I see no reason to change them, other than maybe a political climate in this country that's tending on changing all this stuff, and I disagree with that.
Do you think changing the policies helps students or not?
I think leaving the wording the way it is the proper thing to do.
I didn't, I asked, do you think that changing the policy helps students or not? Helping
Changing them the way they
I'm
want to
just
change
talking
them.
about helping students. I'm not
I don't,
talking
yeah,
about
I
the-
am too, and I think it does a
Excuse me,
disservice to
I
the
was
students.
talking.
Wait, let
I
him-
was
let
not
him-
done talking.
Let him finish,
Thank you.
1 second.
The question was, do you think changing the policy helps students or not? And I think it does help students.
I don't,
There's a reason for that.
I don't
And
think so.
the reason for that is because we want children to feel comfortable when they learn. And how we refer to a student is helping them feel comfortable coming to school, feeling accepted. And I don't think that the world's view on this topic versus the student's view is really where we should be coming from. You talk about the political statement of the world, I understand, but we're here to deal with our students. So if this helps students, why not allow this to help our students? Some people might
I disagree with you, Paul. I don't think it helps students. I think it confuses them.
All right,
I think we're talking about policies and a handbook and policies, and it should be the staff, the students, the administrator. That would be my recommendation, that instead of it being specific, it would be the staff, because we're talking about the staff in the building, the students, and the administrators. That would be
I would
mine.
like to, I can make that motion because I would like to do it the same consistency that we've changed all the other ones
Previous.
to.
But
the
there is an
students.
amendment on the table that's been seconded.
correct. We're talking about that amendment.
Okay, so then we would need a vote on that amendment as
I mean, if
presented.
there's more to discuss, that's great. I'm just letting you know there's an amendment on the table and seconded before we start adding amendments, and we don't know where we're at.
Okay, so based on the amendment of changing these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 policies, we would need a vote on the, is there any further discussion on that amendment?
I am just make a comment that the entire community showed up tonight to let us know how they felt.
Any other further discussion on that amendment as presented?
No
Okay.
other, no.
Then I would need I'm asking for a roll call vote for that amendment, Jesse?
No.
Yes,
Yes.
No.
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 No. Okay, motion is denied.
I
So-
would like to make a
Before-
amendment
Oh, okay.
to the main motion, to change it to the student, the staff member, just like we have, and be consistent with the last ones we've changed in the last 3 months.
So that's a motion to change to the staff, the student, and the administrator. Is there a second?
I'm guessing you need board member too.
Yes.
So Jesse, it would be the staff, the student, the administrator, administration, board member. Thank
And
you, Nathaniel.
They,
So we still have a motion. Do we have a second for that?
1 second.
Any discussion? So we would be voting on that amendment then.
Yes.
No,
Yes. Yes.
no,
No.
Yes.
Okay, so that amended motion passes. And then we need to go back to the motion itself.
I still have discussion
Sure,
on the rest of
perfect. Yes, go ahead. Sorry, sir.
Question on policy 1431, I believe. Public expression of board members. Is everything in green, that's all new, correct?
Yes.
So is this a new policy? Or what, or is this replacing a whole lot on this particular policy? Because I don't see any corrections or any of the old stuff other than crossing out 23 or the date on the bottom.
Which number?
Policy 0143.1.
So I'd refer you back to the grid in board docs. Policy 01431, public expression of board members, and that there are major revisions to that.
And is there a reason for this additional amount of revisions?
Why
So
not?
your question is why this amount and not a different amount, or?
I just don't know what we're replacing to know what, this appears to be adding a whole amount to this particular policy.
So the first sentence was what the
That was it?
previous policy was. Everything in green
Is,
are the changes.
All right, so then members of the community, so from time to time we make statements, I mean, that could be your family member, that could be considered as anything. I'm just
Public
concerned
statement.
because we've had board members and staff here take board members to task over petty stuff to put them in board member behavior and code of conduct. We've had lawyers, and it's been frivolous and quite frankly stupid. So my concern is if we don't know what we're voting on here, and this becomes such a defined thing that somebody gets all undone about, you're gonna be going right back to the same things we've had before. And I just wanted to know why, like routine thank you letters of the board. I have no idea what that's pertaining to.
So I think it's an attempt to provide some guidance for board members, because if you look down in that third paragraph underneath items A, B, C, and D, talks about the board member indicating whether they're in functioning, making statements in their official position as a board member or as an individual.
So even when we're sending out thank you letters, on behalf of the school, on behalf of,
So it's not saying we can't say it, we just have to say it's our own personal opinion. And it's our own personal view is what it's saying.
so when I write
Is
it,
that correct?
That's my interpretation of it, yes.
so when we put a thank you, it's my personal opinion that I thank you. It doesn't really make sense to me.
I'm under the impression that it does. It makes sense only because depending on how a person were to climb through the board itself, if you're the board president and you were to send something out as the board president, and you sign your name as board president, I thank you for X, Y, and Z, rather than saying, I, John Smith, member of the Spooner School Board, wish to thank you.
Well, then, Paul, under that, if I send a thank you and I just say, thank you, Nathaniel Melton, no board stuff, whatever stuff,
That's from you personally, I believe is the
That's
understanding.
clearly from you. That's not representing the board in any one way.
and so then in public, I'm talking to you as a friend, I'm talking to you as, I mean, I need to preface that every time I go to talk to somebody in Spooner?
That it's your opinion and not the opinion of the board, that you're not speaking for the board. I think that's what it's for.
I guess I just don't,
Does this policy allow the board president to speak on behalf of the board? I don't see anything in here that says that.
It does.
Because the,
Where does it say that?
At the
I'm
very
The
missing-
very
beginning.
first sentence of the policy.
Well,
That was
I
the
don't-
original part of the policy.
And the rest of the policy is gone?
Board president,
Didn't exist.
okay,
That's all there
functions
was,
as
so this
sports.
That was all there was?
That's all there
Clarifying
was. So this is
So-
detailing.
specifics on,
Next question would be then, does this follow any other? I mean, where did we, who wrote it?
well, it says C bylaw
Hold on, roll it.
0144.5, board member behavior and code of conduct.
we already have something that covers all this under the Code of Conduct and Code of Ethics. I don't know why we need another amendment or a whole nother policy that it already is covered under that board policy.
I think it just clarifies what that one sentence is pertaining to.
Well, until we're clear on it, I would make a motion that we table that particular policy, 0143.1, until we really know what that's all about.
You have,
I'm not, I guess what are we unclear on, Mr. Melton? Because I'll gladly find some additional information.
My question is, why do you need an additional policy when this is already covered under the Board of Code of Conduct or the Ethics, whatever? It's been combined, but that's my question. Is why do you need another policy that's already, it's covered under?
I think it's detailing what that whole first sentence encompasses.
Until we know for sure.
I believe that under Robert's Rule of Order, you made a motion to table something, and you can ask for a second for your tabling motion.
Do we have a second? To table that 143.1? Is there?
I'll second it.
And then in order to table it, we need to know when it's going to come back. It can't just go away and be forgotten about. We have to set a date for it to come back.
That would come back in December.
You
That
can-
sounds great.
Or January, whatever you want it to come back, but we have to have a date for it to come back.
Well, December's, that's fine.
December.
December works for me. I just like to see what the Code of Conduct or Ethics or whatever, it's all combined under one. They have that and see,
It says C bylaw, board member behavior
right,
and code
but
of
that's not
conduct.
provided. I don't want to vote on something that is not provided.
let's
And
vote on the
having
table.
frivolous accusations because of this stuff, I'm just not comfortable going down that road.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to table this 01431 till December, provided with more information of the bylaw 01445. Is what you would like more information on that?
0143.1.
Right, correct, but you would like more information for the bylaw that it pertains to?
Like to look at the Code of Conduct, whatever it is, and the reason behind that this is necessary.
Understood. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can I get a vote on that? Just, roll call vote on that. We'll do that. Yep.
Yes.
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 I'll go yes now.
Yes.
All right, that passes, the amendment passes. So that section would be removed from the group one first reading. So do we have, back to the motion in the second, do we have a vote on the other policies, removing that one as presented?
I believe that we had motion on the floor to approve all the others as they were written.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're voting on
Yes,
now.
so that's what we're voting on now.
Let's do it.
We have a roll call, Jesse. Corey's like, I'm all out.
Yes.
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 No.
This is a vote on the rest of the policies that we were talking about, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item J, consider certifying written evaluations of school safety drills as required, Wisconsin Act 143.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 6, to convene in a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851C to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Do we have a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Jesse.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion passes. Closed session. Thank you.
All the people showed up to tell us how they felt. Time now is 7:39. The board is now in open session, and the board took no action during the closed session.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, motion passes. Meeting adjourned.